Now, you guys did that 7 inch. You guys were on Workshed at the time. And then I remember there was talk. I remember sitting down with Loman. Popeye had just come home from Europe, and he kind of like announced to us that there was going to now be a Function 7 inch on Crisis, and there was going to be a Blackspot 12 inch on Crisis. And the Blackspot 12 inch, though, it's crazy. It never happened. And my question is why? Because like you guys stayed on as a band. I mean, I want to say you guys were a band well longer than when Loman was in the band. So what was the deal behind there never being a 12 inch?
So we were lazy. So we had a lot. Okay, we all had a lot of shit to do. Like by the time we went on tour, we had the demo in the 7 inch. Probably shouldn't have toured on a 7 inch, but we did. And by the time we got back from tour, it was kind of like, okay, what are we going to do? And I think we were burnt. And like I had a new career I was starting, and Brown probably was in college at that point. I don't remember. Lytle might have been in school. Loman was in school. And, you know, everyone was like, hey, we're girls and girlfriends and jobs. And what are we doing? We got to move out of our fucking house. And, you know, we can't live at home forever. And so it was like, okay, do we be in a band, record, do the whole thing? We had enough songs. We had songs. We loved them. Dude, we actually loved our songs. We didn't have any songs that we were like, oh, that song sucks. We're not using that. Like, we genuinely liked all of our music. And I think it just, everything got a little tense after a tour because, you know, dude, you're 5 weeks with the same dudes in the same van, and it's real tight, and everyone's fucking pissed off, and you know, half of us didn't want to come home, and I think it just sort of fizzled out as far as recording. So who's going to put our record out? Well, I knew why Crisis wasn't going to, so we're like, okay, Crisis is out.
Why
Dan
wasn't Crisis going to? Because was it not
Because
really happening at that time? Was it kind
basically, yeah.
Because like, is that when Revelation was kind of? I know that like this may be disputed, but there was a point Revelation kind of moved away from hardcore. Like they just, you know, just to do like the post-hardcore stuff.
Yeah, there was that issue. And of course, everyone was friends with Jordan, and Jordan had moved out to California by then, and Porcel lived out here, and he was still making the decisions for what goes on Rev or Crisis, you know, with Jordan, so they were sort of still a team. And ultimately, even our 7-inch didn't get put out on Crisis or Rev because they didn't want to. It was a, well, I don't want to put out someone that sounds like this or whatever. And I'm not, I mean, I could say I know the specific words, but someone will get all butthurt, and then everyone's going to be like, dude, you did, why'd you say that? And I'm like, so I'm not going to say, but basically somebody said, I'm not going to put out somebody who sounds like this band, bites this band's riffs. And which was a rip to Loman. It was like, dude, Loman didn't rip anyone any more than anyone ripped anyone else. Like, everyone fights everyone, right? So,
hardcore, I love hardcore, but I mean, it's like any kind of music. Like you listen to enough jazz or blues or rock and roll, like
yeah.
Especially with hardcore, it kind of sounds fairly similar.
Right. And you know, it's you're influenced by the stuff you're listening to. And so that's kind of how we weren't on either of those. Like you said, Rev was kind of getting away from hardcore, and the Crisis thing, I think it was just like, well, you sound too much like this band and whatever, fine. So we had both at the time before the 7-inch, we had both Frank and Dan wanted to put it out, Big Frank, you know. And they were both like, dude, we want to put you out, you know, separately, kind of not fighting, but it was like, and I'm like 17. I'm just the drummer, you know. I don't make decisions because I'm the kid or whatever. And so I just kind of was like, all right, leave it up to you guys. You guys figure it out. I just want to play. Tell me what to do. And we ended up going with Dan, of course, on Workshed. And then the reason the 12-inch didn't ever get done really is not necessarily because of a specific outside. It was us. We just never did it. We just never really pushed. And then Loman left the band, and we're like, okay, are we going to still be a band? And we're like, well, yeah, this is fun. But again, we weren't like really aggressively trying to be a band. We weren't trying to record. I think we were just burnt. We were just like trying to like live our lives outside of just being in a band, of course. And so we got Hampton, and then Hampton was in the band during Loman time, but when Loman left, then Hampton left. And so, okay, now we have no guitar player. And of course, Barry shreds. So Barry's like, oh, I'm going to play. And then we got Roger because he's metal, and those guys all knew Roger. But yeah, let's get a metal dude. That'll be fun. And Roger was cool, of course. And so then we were like, okay, let's do this band again. And then the songs sort of were different because Barry writes a little bit differently. And Roger, of course, every song he wrote was like speed metal. So we kept one of his songs. That was Van Driesen. Right. And that's ended up being my favorite song. My favorite Blackspot song was Van Driesen, and it's the fastest one, and it's super fun for me to play. And we still, at that point, I think, didn't really care to make a 12-inch. We just wanted to play shows and have fun, and making records is a lot of work. And like I said earlier, everyone just kind of was on their own. I got to have a job, and I got to move out of my house, and I got a girlfriend, and I'm in college now, and not me, but, just the guys in the band. And it was like, what are we all going to do? Are we going to bust our ass, make a 12-inch? Who's going to put it out was, of course, a huge question. Who's going to put it out? By that time, it was like 1995. Who's putting out hardcore albums in 1995 that would take a band like us? We didn't have a specific message. We didn't have X's, and we didn't have all shaved heads, and we didn't have.
And you guys weren't going to tour, because remember when Ignite came around, Ignite got involved and just went for it, touring. You guys weren't going to be doing that.
No, we had gone on a tour, and then we're like, well, dude, we could keep doing this and keep living at our mom's, or do we want to move on in our life but keep having a band? And that kind of means, well, you can't have a job and go to school and everything and go on tour. And yeah, when you put out a 12-inch, are you going to be the kind of band that puts out a 12-inch and doesn't tour, or do you want to quit everything and go for it? But we just didn't have dude, we need to record, we need to go on tour. We were like, we like writing songs, we like playing shows. Band practice is cool, but we still want to not stress out about all that other shit. And again, it also was, we didn't have anyone asking us. We didn't have anybody being like, we want to put your record out, which was a big part of it. There was nobody saying, let's record. It was us saying, we're probably going to record. And as you know, every single show, we're going to record for a 12-inch, and it was it became the big joke. Blackspot's never putting out a 12-inch, and of course we didn't.